Welcome to Around Town, featuring what's going on here in the greater Concord area. I'm your host, Dick Patton, with my director, Brian Blackton, and we're here at the Immaculate Heart of Mary Church and Parish Activity Center, which provides us with our location. But I'm very pleased today and honored to have with me Mr. Concord. Now, he just won his title back about, what, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And it's Michael...
Hauptly-Pierce.
Hauptly-Pierce.
Or MHP is easier.
Yeah, MHP. Well, I mean, I got the Pierce right, but I couldn't, Hauptly, I couldn't. You said it's German, Swiss?
Well, it started in Switzerland, then moved through Germany, and then came through Ellis Island.
So you're not Amish.
No, but Pennsylvania Dutch.
I know.
With cars.
I love the Amish down there. I've been down there 3 times, I guess. And oh, what a beautiful country. But anyway, I saw it in the paper, and I had read some of the articles. They were having it coming up. But this is kind of still fairly new, this Mr. Concord deal.
Yeah, I think this is only the 4th year of the pageant, or the 5th year of it. This was my first year of even being aware of it. And
well, how did you get involved?
So I own a brewery here in Concord, Lithermans Limited. I co-own it with my partner, Doc Jones. And occasionally I'm on the bar, less often lately than in the past. I was working on the bar, and a lady came in and literally tucked a business card into my pocket. It was Mary. And she said, "You're busy right now. I know you don't want to talk. When you have 10 minutes, call me. I want to talk to you about doing the Mr. Concord pageant." So I called her, and we met for coffee, and she pitched me on her idea. And it was, once I realized that it was at its core a fundraiser for the Women's Crisis Shelter, it was a no-brainer.
Oh, yeah.
So then it was just sort of figuring out the details, and I had a lot of fun. I very much looked forward to it in the weeks leading up to it.
What did we do wrong? We never get asked to be in anything like that. But so, what did you have to prepare for? Now, what did you do? Talent? Did you do swimsuit? Did you do?
Thankfully, the mankini portion was not in this one.
There wasn't.
No, so that wouldn't have been in anybody's
now,
best interest.
How old are you?
How old do you think I am?
Well, I would guess probably 35.
I will take that all day. I'm 45.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess you got a few years left, I guess. I know I'm way over the board, so I get Mr. Senior Concord. So what did you do? Did you have to write an essay? Did you have to be interviewed? Did you sing, dance, or what did you do?
Some of the above. The candidates were chosen from a pool of men that are active in Concord and have shown a commitment to support of women's causes and charities. And I don't know how Mary heard about me.
Who's Mary?
Mary McGaughan. She runs the, I'm always going to get the name of the organization
right.
wrong.
Yeah, she sent me an email, Mary McGaughan.
GFWC Concord Contemporary
McGaughan.
Club. And that's the club that actually hosts this event every year.
She used to be, I think, worked at Bank of New Hampshire, the original Bank of New Hampshire, for years, Mary McGaughan, down at, maybe not. That was the one that worked there like that. But, well, that's good then.
So she said, you've done a lot of stuff with women's charities in the past, and we're interested in having you compete. There's a fundraising component to it, so I had to raise some money, which was easy. I sold a bunch of tickets. I had 24 people in the audience, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I had to do a talent portion.
What'd you do?
I sing.
You sing?
I do. So I had my buddy Mark Vadney, shout out to Mark for coming through with his guitar, because I have no guitar skills. So
do you sing country, music, jazz, gospel?
I sing all kinds of stuff. I guess adult contemporary would be what we did. We did a 20-year-old song that's sort of a slow love song called Soul's Child by Sean Mullins.
I'm back in the mid-'60s with the Beatles and Peter and Gordon and all Herman Sermons and that crowd. So if you talk that crowd, I know what you're talking about, Bobby Rydell, but not. I'm not up to the. When they went into disco and psychedelic rock in the late '60s, acid rock and that, I said, I switched over to country music. I did, of course. I can't stand the new country, but I like the old. Well, not the old, but the mid-way with Loretta Lynn, Dolly Parton, Porter Wagoner, Billy, all that crowd. Statler Brothers, but the new stuff. But when you talk adult contemporary, the only thing I can think of is Michael Bublé or Barry Manilow or something like that.
I guess you could consider him a little country, but I don't really think Sean Mullins is country.
I never heard of him.
He's from the South, so he's got some country influence in his storytelling, but I don't find his music fits into that box neatly at all.
Oh,
I'll tell you what. I'll give you a link and you can look it up after the show.
Yeah, you have to hum a few bars, see if we can sing it. That's what my father-in-law used to say. Hum a few, when my mother-in-law used to rag on him. She said, yeah, hum a few bars. Let me see if you can sing it.
So after the talent portion, we had to do. They read our bio first, and then we did the talent portion. They asked us if we were chosen as Mr. Concord, what would we do to help further the cause of the women's crisis shelter? Because ultimately, that's what the Mr. Concord, the role is to act as an advocate and an ambassador to the community for the women's crisis shelter. And so the question was posed, what would you do with this if you had this ability? How would you further the cause? And I had to think a lot about that. I'm generally a pretty off-the-cuff speaker, but I thought very long and hard about that. And then at the end, there was another fundraising component because the judges were all encouraged to be bribed. So some of the contestants were actually putting $20 bills in front of the judges after their pieces of the performance. After things happened on stage, people from the audience also could walk up and give the judges money. But in addition to that, you could buy tickets for, I think they were $5 a piece. And we each had a little bag on a table with our picture on it. And people could put as many tickets as they want, as many as they bought, into whoever's bag. So it was somewhat, it was more like a Florida election than a New Hampshire election. Sorry, too soon?
No, I'm just thinking about you. Now, are you married?
I am.
And your wife didn't have a problem with that?
She was there.
She was there.
Yeah, she was putting tickets in the
I'm
bag.
Sure she did.
Yeah.
I'm sure she did. But how about you? You have kids?
No.
No kids.
No kids.
Okay. Well, it just amazes me. I mean, this thing, I had heard a little bit about it, but I never knew much about it. But, it's amazing. You had to do all of this to basically raise money to get this honor. It just wasn't based on your talent or...
Thankfully, no.
They didn't give you a question.
It was not a beauty pageant.
You didn't give you a question you had to answer like an impromptu question.
No, we knew what the question was going to be, and I think it was, they really wanted somebody that was going to be able to accomplish things for them and help advance the program and advance awareness of the situation, the fact that there are not enough rooms, there are not enough beds, there are not enough places for these women who need someplace to go, and the fact that the places that do exist are not supported as well as they might be. And thankfully, because beer is cool and I own a brewery, I have access to a lot of people. People pay attention because they want to hear about the next cool thing that's coming out in the beer world. And I pretty much said I would leverage that to gain the market of people's attention that they didn't currently have.
Where is yours located?
I'm on Hall Street, so just on the other end of town.
See, I wasn't aware of this because I had, doing the Christmas tree lighting, I'm in charge of that as well, 48 years, along with the Grange. And we've had things on the plaza with Santa, the Brian Waldron and his band, and the petting zoo, and the horse-drawn wagon rides, and a few things. So we try to add something every year because the weather plays a big deal in it too. But so this year, because of in-town Concord was trying to come up with some stuff, in the summer market days, they have these beer tasting tents or whatever, wine tasting tents down the street. So this year I thought, maybe something for the adults. So I talked with a couple of restaurants to see if they were interested in doing a free beer tasting or wine tasting. No, they never got back to me. So I talked with your competitor, Concord Capital Craft. I guess Concord Craft.
Concord Craft.
And Dennis was wonderful. Yes, we'd love to do it. So they're going to set up there a tent across the street, and I didn't want on the same street as the kids on there over there in the plaza. And they're going to do that, but that's good to know because maybe next year, if they don't want to,
sure,
or I can have two of them. I don't care, but we've got to get permits from them, obviously, and the city and the state got to get their little fingers in there. But but that's nice to know because I don't drink alcohol, period, and I don't smoke, but and not because I'm religious crazy, just because I'm on medication, I can't. But I know that some people would like and because holiday parties.
Sure.
And of course you can't forget the bowl games on New Year's Day, and of course the Super Bowl coming up after that. But everybody has New Year's Eve parties, Christmas Eve parties, or holiday generally. So what do they serve? So I thought this might be a chance for them to taste or whatever. I don't know.
Well, let us know for next year. We certainly love being involved.
Well, it's always the Friday after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
so you can plan them. Next year, what, 28th, I think, or 27th, whatever the fourth Thursday of Thanksgiving, it's the next day. It's by tradition, we do the day after Thanksgiving.
All right.
I was born in Concord, born right over in the Heights over on East Sugar Fall Road. So I know.
Right on the road?
Well, my it's a dead end. My grandparents built the first house on the Heights in 1916. And we lived with my grandparents. And so, of course, when you drive through 393 westbound, you're right near my house. But, so, you know, I know the Heights. Well, I used to know the Heights. We never had all this stuff on Loudon Road like we do now. But anyway.
Well, thankfully we do. We have someplace to record, right?
Well, the church was always here. But not this fast food junk alley and all the mall, which is now nothing up there. But, you know, I shouldn't say it, but it's true. With Sears going out. But anyhow, you know, it was very quiet of it. 2-lane road, that's what it was. And everybody knew everybody's neighbor. You know, we didn't have all the apartments up here and stuff. But anyway, you know, we used to have a lot of traditions in Concord. We've lost a lot. So we try to maintain the tradition of the tree lighting and the manger there. And we added some things every year to make it more. We get several thousand people down there.
I'll have to make sure I go. I've not been.
Yeah. Oh,
I don't live in town.
where do you live?
Manchester.
Wow.
My partner's north, I'm south. We split the difference when we placed the brewery in Concord.
North? Where's the north?
He was in Tilton originally. Now he's in Gilmanton. But it's still sort of
Peyton Place.
equidistant. Yeah, I know, right?
That's what
I read Grace Battalion.
That's what I told my surgeon yesterday. I had a back procedure yesterday, and Dr. Nagel's from Gilmanton. I said, well, which part? There's two parts. Gilmanton Ironworks or Gilmanton. I said, Ironworks, that's nothing to do with the other part. Well, anyway, so he's from Gilmanton. But anyway, it's Manchester, we could never compete with them. Right? They've always got the big parades, the big fireworks, and everything else down there. But, you know, it's still, I mean, but there again, you know, we used to go to Manchester shopping on Thursday nights. Mammoth Mills, when they were in business. Forest Hills, that was across on the west side. J.M. Fields, that was there. Of course, that's all, you're a baby, you don't remember.
Well, I didn't grow up out here.
Yeah, where'd you come from?
California.
Well, what part of California?
Kind of where the Bay Area meets Silicon Valley, Fremont.
He knows. I know San Francisco.
South Bay. So if you crossed the bridge from San Francisco to Oakland and drove a half an hour south, you'd be in Fremont.
So back to your pageant. What was the question they asked you?
They said, if you get chosen as Mr. Concord, what will you do to help further our cause and help raise awareness and raise money and be a good advocate and ambassador to the community?
So now you feel like you're really...
Well,
I mean, not that you didn't before, but now it's kind of like a...
It's a different kind of an obligation, for sure. And I've been thinking a lot about that because I feel like I set the bar pretty high by what I said. But I really wanted to bring them a value proposition and not just be like, I'm one person that's going to be able to do something for you. I have all these amazing people surrounding me that empower me and assist me and do things that I can't do, and I can bring them all in. I had, you know, the sound guy for Steve Langtot for the event was one of my friends who volunteered his time. I had a bunch of people in the audience. It's easy for me to just sort of gather people around me and say, here's the cause, let's do something about it. So we've already got the wheels turning on a couple of projects. We're working actually with Coalition to End Domestic Violence, which operates that shelter and all of the other shelters in the state. They're based in Concord as well. They're just above Revelstoke Coffee and Tea right downtown. And Brian Harlow, one of the gentlemen that works there, I know him through the Concord Wolves hurling team. You know, Irish hurling with the stick. Come on, you're a Concord guy. They play out.
We never had that when I was a kid, hurling, but okay.
I don't think it really got popular in America until the 70s, and this team didn't start until it was some guys coming back from Desert Storm. Actually, they got laid over in, I think, Heathrow Airport and caught a hurling game on television and caught the bug and brought it back here. So we sponsored them. They actually play right next to us, right in the field that abuts Amoskeag Beverage Distributors.
Oh, yeah.
Almost on the bow line. So I was chatting with Brian, and he'd mentioned that he thought it'd be a great idea to do a collaboration beer where we get our graphics guy to put a label together that is compelling and ties into the cause. We can possibly have a fundraising component to it where $1 from a 4-pack that we sell in-house goes to the cause. We can have a big party for the release party. We have over 100 people when we throw a good party. So we can pack the house. I'll get a couple of food trucks parked outside. I'll get the media involved. I'll get us in the Hippo and in New Hampshire Magazine and on the radio. I'll sweet talk Mike Moore into get me on Frank FM. I'll just pull all my strings in and I'll make it a big party. So we're actually collaboratively planning this beer for April of 2020, which will be in collaboration with the Coalition to End Domestic Violence and also with Revelstoke Coffee, who will be providing one of the ingredients. We're going to be doing a sour beer, and we're going to use a little bit of their iced tea, their house blend iced tea, and that's for starters anyway. So that's the first step in the process, and that should be a good time.
You wouldn't combine with the Kiwanis Fair in May, because they have nothing inside the arena now like they used to. It used to be
They won't let you sell booze.
Really?
No. I specifically went and spoke to a gentleman who works for the arena, and it was brought before the town council in the last year or two to start selling beer there, like to people going to events, and it was shot down, I'm assuming because of liability reasons.
Oh, I don't know. That arena needs so much work into it. But anyhow, but that's too bad. But I know you said something a few seconds ago. No, I've lost it. Well, I know. It was like this year's Christmas tree, we're dedicating it to the Concord Coalition to End Homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to try to stuff a cruiser or a sheriff's cruiser with items they need. So next year I could think about that one with you, the domestic violence item.
Absolutely.
You know, but so then you had to do your song, your question, and raise the money with your little bags out front and beforehand. What else did you have to do in the thing?
That was kind of it. It was that there was 8 of us, so that took
Wow.
2.5 hours just to get through all of that. Some of the people had longer talent portions than others.
What did Corey DeGrania do? He was a runner-up, right?
He was. I couldn't hear hardly anything from the wings because they had us in a green room off to the side and the speakers were pointed to the front. So I literally couldn't understand any of the words that were being spoken on
He's
stage.
coming on the show, he is sometime soon. But, so I have to find out if he's related to Leo DeGrania, because Leo was a police officer for many years in Concord. And then he went to the sheriff's office after that when he retired. But no, I saw your 2 names and I thought, I didn't recognize anybody else's name on there. But so were you nervous? Did you wonder what the heck am I doing here?
No, I started doing theater when I was 6, so I'm pretty
Really?
comfortable in front of a crowd or a camera.
Why aren't you doing something in the theater now with Concord Community Players?
I work 80 hours a week.
Oh, you poor thing.
It's by choice. It's not like I'm forced to work
No,
80
I
hours
know,
a week.
but
I haven't had time to do theater since I left California 20 years ago. But I did.
Wow.
I did between 4 and 6 plays a year, like all through school and high school and college.
Well, why didn't you pursue acting in
Because I got to eat.
daytime dramas, nighttime shows?
Can't make any money doing that. That's a 1 in a million. How much you get paid for doing the show you've been doing for 22 years?
So,
Hey, you haven't even gotten a raise.
and I know it.
But at least it's tax free.
Inflation. Yeah, sure. Yeah,
It's I do it for the love of it. And
that's with me.
Yeah.
I do things because people say you're stupid.
you monetize them, and it takes some of the fun out of it.
Well, as a kid, my sister and I, we grew up with nothing. My mother and father both worked jobs. Sometimes they worked 2 jobs apiece. We lived with my grandparents. And, you know, we knew, I mean, at Christmas time, my cousin, he would get the nice Tonka trucks and things. I'd get the plastic version, or the rubber version, you know, the one. I didn't care. We knew. And for Christmas, we got clothes, or we'd get maybe a couple of board games, maybe she'd get a doll, my sister, or something. We didn't, because they didn't have all this stuff they have nowadays, but my gosh, the stuff they've got now. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I went through Walmart today, my goodness. And of course now you got Amazon to play with online and stuff, but we didn't have all this stuff. If we had a transistor radio, well, we had the old-fashioned record player. We thought that was a big deal, with 45 records.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but life has changed so bad. I mean, it's just, I mean, kids today, I mean, I feel bad for Santa Claus. My gosh, the letters I mean, the stuff they want. And they don't just put names down, they put pictures. That's what they want with them. When we run the parade, we have the letters, we have Santa's mailboxes, and we read every one of them just to see. Because one time when we did a live TV show with Santa Claus in the studio, And he had gotten a couple of letters he read, and they were sad. Ooh, one of them was a boy in Pennacook whose mother and father had been separated. And his only wish for Christmas was to have them back together for Christmas Day. And he didn't sign his last name. I said, oh, I wish I'd
Sounds
known.
like a TV special.
Oh, and then another little girl wanted her dad home from the Mideast because he was in the service. And she said, oh, Santa, can't you bring him home for Christmas? Oh, what are you going to say? You know, and that was a telephone call I got.
Right.
Because we had the TV, it was live on TV, and we had this phone hooked in. They could call and talk to Santa. And, oh, brother, you know, it just made your heart break because how can you promise that? You know, I mean, yeah, sure, I was out to Ann Arbor this year. Yeah, as you can see, I'm a big Wolverine fan. And during the halftime, it was Army that was in there playing this year, and they had a salute to the soldier. He had been held captive in Vietnam for 18 months, and he was there. They brought him out. He was in his 90s, I guess. They brought him out. He was there. And then they had this other guy on screen out there in Ann Arbor, the big house, who was talking to his girlfriend and his parents. They were on the field, and he was saying he was in Romania deployed. And he was saying how much he missed them and hoped they were enjoying themselves. He hoped to be home soon, but blah, blah, blah. Well, then, all of a sudden, out he comes onto the field in his uniform, gets down on his knee, and proposes to a girlfriend. Now, there's 115,000 people in that stadium, and what do you think you're going to do? No.
She better say yes.
Yeah,
right?
I was going to say.
You can't recant later.
But no, so I mean, you know, it's things like that that you really remember. And like I said, we did not grow up, I mean, we didn't live, well, I won't say it because I got criticized for saying about the hill, but, you know, in Concord. But you know where that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
The hill, yeah. Well, we're on the east side, because this section over here, the east side, Concord Heights was known originally as Burglar's Island. Because there was nothing over here, hardly you couldn't cross the river unless you went by boat, you know, and that's what it was. And then they called it the Dark Plains, because we still had no electricity up here. Then it became the Concord Plains, and then Concord Heights. But, you know, I mean, so we were always, even as in school, we were looked down upon. They didn't know, no, the Heights kids are, oh, no, they don't know that. You know, but anyway, so. But I think it's great that you got into this thing and you really put your all into it. And you got 5 minutes left, but you know, I mean, you seem very down to earth. You know, it's not like you're up here now because I'm Mr. Concord.
It's not that kind of
Would
contest.
you please open my door for
Yeah.
me?
My wife is having a really good time jibing me about it at every opportunity. My neighbor, who just moved, unfortunately, because I really liked him, but he was having a good time.
Yeah.
Just busting my chops. I said to my wife, does this mean that we're not going to be able to go out to dinner in Concord for the next year? And she goes, oh no, we're going to go out, but I'm going to announce you. Like,
How many years you been married?
It will be 17 in January.
Oh wow, good for you.
Thank you.
Yes, you'll have to make sure when you go into the Red Blazer or a Common Man that you
Rose petals before me.
Yes, please make sure I'm Mr. Concord. You know.
It's a challenge to operate a brewery, I think, because people still have a stigma. We're still somewhat of a puritanical nation at heart, and there's a stigma against drinking almost even amongst drinkers, and it's difficult to overcome that and make people realize that you are a viable member of the community beyond just by being a public house in some place that people can come and not get trashed, but have a beer or two after work and something to eat and a conversation with somebody, but that even beyond just us providing that kind of a space, that businesses like mine can do the right thing. And so we just finished up doing Cocktails for a Cause, which is another fundraiser for the Women's Crisis Shelter. We raised about almost $300 in 1 month just by taking 25% of gross sales of a given variety of beer and writing a check for it. We've worked with a ton of organizations like that, and we're trying to put more of a focus on charitable activity and giving.
Do you feel that you're a competitor to like Budweiser distributors here or Amherst Beverages or something? Or no.
That's a multi-pronged question.
I mean, you sell beer, they sell beer, so do you feel like you're competing against each other or no?
Ultimately, there's only so many draft lines in the world, and there's only so many linear feet
Okay.
of shelf space in the world.
Yeah.
But it's a very non-competitive industry. It's my friend Steve Labby likes to refer to things as co-peditors, where we're doing the same thing, looking for the same market, but we don't have to fight each other, because if we actually help each other, we can all advance more. And I mean, it's like Concord Craft. It wouldn't be unusual for me to get back to the brewery and find that Doug, their brewer, was in my brewery returning an 11-pound bag of hops that he'd borrowed 3 days ago, or bringing us a 4-pack of something they just brewed that they wanted us to try.
Yeah.
So we're super friendly.
That's good though. Yeah.
Even I think the distributors as well. They understand that where we're coming from as a self-distributed brewery, that there's not a real opportunity for them right now, but we're growing, and you never know where things are going to go. I think until you really get to the higher levels of the monopoly of the beer company that shall not be named, I don't think there's really any animosity towards craft, and there's really not much competitive vibe. Maybe if you go someplace like San Diego or Portland, where you've got a more saturated marketplace, a little more developed marketplace, you might have a little more competition just because people are rubbing elbows, there's a little more friction. But I haven't even seen that.
Well, if you'd like to come down to November 29th for the Christmas tree lighting, I will make sure that you're introduced down there.
All right.
WJYY will be, MUI will be there.
I'll put it in my calendar right now.
And, we'll, maybe as it gets near toward 5:45 or something, when the big crowd is there, somewhere there, I will let Brian Waldron know that you're coming, or JYY know you're coming, and just have you come up, have you drop in there so people can see you. I mean, not many people, I mean, I know the monitor, and a lot of people don't buy it. They've gotten sick of it because it's, a lot of local stuff's not in there.
Yeah.
So, it's all, but anyway, we're coming down to 1 minute, and it certainly has been a pleasure, Michael, having you on.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on the
Well,
show.
I hope that we can see more of you and different things. I do a lot of charitable stuff myself, but still, I'll be looking for you for support. Budweiser always helps us out with a tree lighting every year, a little donation, but, it's good that we can work together. And
Absolutely.
it's nice to know a Mr. Concord.
Well, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Brian. So if you're looking to talk to Mr. Concord, you can reach him at what numbers are good to get you at?
It's probably easiest to drop me an email, mhp@lithermans.beer, LITHERMANS.beer. Yes, .beer.
There you go. And with that in mind, have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you at the Christmas parade on the 23rd here on the Heights, and the tree lighting on the 29th down on Main Street.